Good evening. I want to thank you all for being here tonight to discuss a very important topic involving children in our community. The department has been dedicated to investigating internet crimes against children, which was the catalyst for creating our Internet Crimes Against Children, or ICAC unit, in 2012 in partnership with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The Internet Crimes Against Children, or ICAC Task Force program, is a national network of 61 coordinated task forces representing more than 5,400 federal, state, and local law enforcement and prosecutorial agencies. The ICAC program was developed in response to the increasing number of children and teenagers using the internet and other technology, the proliferation of child sexual assault or abuse images available electronically, and the heightened online activity by predators seeking unsupervised contact with the potential underage victims. The ICAC task force agencies are engaged in both proactive and reactive investigations, forensic examinations, and criminal prosecutions. By helping state and local agencies develop effective, sustainable responses to online child victimization, including responses to child sex abuse images, the ICAC program has increased law enforcement capacity to combat technology-facilitated crimes against children at every level. The ICAC unit requires detectives to undergo extensive training that prepares them to conduct in-depth investigation of child predators and present the best possible case for prosecution to the district attorney's office. Detectives work hand in hand with prosecutors throughout the course of an investigation to ensure all legal requirements are met, leading to successful prosecution of these crimes against our children. Our ICAC unit averages 15 to 20 tips from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children each month. Investigators then determine if the report is legitimate or not. For those that are ultimately deemed legitimate, it takes a significant amount of time to conduct a thorough investigation and ensure that justice is served by holding these predators accountable for their actions in court. The issue I want to bring to the public's attention tonight is the growing citizen groups. Some refer to them as vigilante groups, trying to expose child predators on their own. These groups are turning up all around the country, including in our areas. The intention of these groups may be honorable. No one wants to see a child in our community become a victim of any kind, especially that of sexual exploitation. These groups, however, often end up creating a significant challenge to child exploitation cases. Not only do they not have the training and experience of a law enforcement officer, typically their methods of investigation and evidence do not meet the requirement for successful prosecution of these cases. In fact, sometimes their actions and initial investigations may harm a case more than it helps it. Regardless of the name of the group, these citizen groups typically operate in the same manner. Child sex predators are lured by people pretending to be juveniles and are later exposed either in personal confrontation or on social media. The member of these groups utilize apps like Kik, Whispers, Meet Me, and Scout. The groups create posts on various social media apps impersonating a juvenile and engages potential suspects in conversation. If the conversation becomes sexually explicit, the members then arrange to meet the suspect. With these actions, it is possible that these citizen groups may do something that compromises a case that it took months to develop. And if that occurs, the law enforcement agency handling the investigation potentially loses all of the evidence and progress made in this case. For example, if a person who is a target of a law enforcement investigation learned that they are a target or faces exposure through actions of a citizen group, that person could take action to delete all communications and make evidence unretrievable. In fact, the actions of a citizen group could mean the difference between a prosecution and an acquittal, or worst case scenario, could make it possible or impossible for law enforcement to even bring charges that are worthy of prosecution. For these and other reasons, it is imperative that trained law enforcement officers conduct an independent investigation and follow strict legal protocols to obtain and preserve evidence. We are also extremely concerned for the safety of the members of the citizen groups and community in general, especially because the tendency of these groups is to lure a potential suspect to a public place to confront them. These confrontations are likely to create disturbances and certainly have the potential for violence. The Winston-Salem Police Department does not want to see any innocent person injured or possibly even killed because of these actions and of the action group of these groups. Simply put, what these groups are doing just isn't safe. Police departments across our country have been making these concerns known to their communities, and the Winston-Salem Police Department wanted to do the same. We appreciate the desire to help and support law enforcement in these investigations. We simply ask that citizens do it the right way, which is not to put themselves or others in danger, but to report any concerns or information regarding child exploitation to the trained investigators and detectives in our agency working these cases. If a member of one of these groups or a citizen in general has concerns about a possible exploitation of a child, they are urged to report their concerns to their local law enforcement agency or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's 24-hour hotline. That number is 1-800-843-5678. Repeating, 1-800-843-5678. Any such concerns provided to the Winston-Salem Police Department will be assigned to our ICAC unit, which will conduct a complete and thorough investigation based on their training and experience. And finally, to all our parents, please have conversations with your children about their online activity and help them find ways to keep themselves safe from those who might wish to harm them. Additional information and resources for parents can be found at the website for the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children at missingkids.org. That's missingkids.org. Thank you. Yes.
So what are you going to do with these groups or someone that witnessed them making a bust?
So the question is, what are we going to do with these groups or someone that witnessed them making a bust? So at the end of the day, we are charged with enforcing the law. If the groups have done something criminal, then of course we will deal with it from that aspect. What we are trying to do is eliminate all of that, educate our public on the right way to handle these investigations or to help us handle these investigations, turn the information over to us as trained law enforcement so that we can follow the laws, work with our DA's office, and present the best case possible for prosecution. We are not out to target any citizen group. We understand that their hearts are in the right place. However, what they are doing is not safe.
Chief Thompson, will there be any charges against the three men if if they're found in this case at Target last night?
The question is, will there be arrest with the 3 men involved in the Target incident? I think regarding the Target incident from last night, we have put out a press release. That is an active investigation. And again, the information that can be released has been released through our media release earlier today.
What about the young man, Mr. Wade? Will he face any charges?
Again, that is an active investigation. All the information that's available to be released publicly has been released. If there are additional information that becomes public record, of course, we will absolutely share that. Yes?
You mentioned that some citizen groups have possibly damaged evidence that law enforcement needs to prosecute a case as well. Were there any specific citizen groups that really prompted this announcement?
This announcement was prompted. So the question is, were there any specific citizen group that prompted this announcement? This announcement was prompted as a result of our agency and agencies across our state seeing an increase in activity with these different groups, and in an effort to educate our public and, most importantly, keep our citizens safe. And that includes the citizen groups participating in these activities. Yes, ma'am.
Does this relate to the Target case from yesterday, or is this just, does this have any relation to internet crimes against children? Was the person involved in that or anything like that?
So the question is, did the Target case have anything to do with the internet's crimes against children? Again, I'll refer back to the fact that the information on the Target case has been released, the public information. Anything beyond that, I cannot mention, as of course we want a successful prosecution or investigation in whatever is going on with that case, and we do not want to compromise the integrity of that investigation. I'll take one last question.
So how many times has this happened in the city this year?
So the question is, how many times have this happened in the city this year? I don't have the exact number, but it has happened more than once. And so again, seeing the increase in activity, not just in Winston-Salem, but across our state, made it necessary for us to share the information with our public in an effort to keep them safe. Thank you all again for being here. We do appreciate your time.
This was you. Howard, Chief's opening remarks. Did I get an email copy of that?